Hello there, I'm Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights. Welcome to our traditional review of the year and what a busy year it's been. I want to take you on a journey through the months to remind you of some of the things that we've been involved in, some of our successes, some of our works in progress, but hopefully we can give you some ideas and inspire you to get active with the animals in the new year. We started off in January with our usual digital advert for January, which always goes down a treat locally. But we're also back on the streets straight away in Newcastle and Saltburn with our outreach. We're doing our advert slightly different this year because we want to focus on animal use rather than just the food part of it, because we feel as if we're drifting away a little bit and we don't want to have so much of a focus on food. We also had our fifth birthday in February, so already right at the start of the year, we're ploughing on with our outreach events and keeping on going, and we're now heading towards our sixth birthday. And in some respects, I kind of feel as if we've been around forever, and then at other times, I kind of think, God, where does the time go? Our Teesside branch is going from strength to strength. With Rachel leading the group down there. We had hoped to expand further in Northumberland as well, but due to a key member being ill, we've had to put that on the back burner for now. But hopefully, it's something we can pick up in the future. Our work with the council's animal protection charter is just going from strength to strength. With our local council meeting regularly and with some really amazing engagement and actions going on there. We'll have some very exciting news which we're going to share with you about our wider work with the charter in the new year. So watch out for that. It's top secret at the moment though. But we also had some local successes where the council had confirmed that they're now an egg hatching programme free authority with their schools, but with one outlier who we all missed with the reindeer event, but they've now agreed to stop as the council were already an animals and public events free zone with no reindeer in sight. If that makes sense. That's a bit of a mouthful. But essentially, the charter came about because of the animals they had in parades, and we kept on working with them as well. I've also been working with a local church to get them through the Equid Church Silver Award following their Bronze Award just over a year ago. And whilst the aim of the award is to make sure that churches are more aware of their environmental impact, it goes without saying that we make sure that there is many links to animals as possible. I'm also working with another local church on their Bronze Award. And while we should all expect that churchgoers see the direct links between veganism and religion, ultimately it's supposed to be peace movements, but they don't. So it's good to make inroads, even in this very, very small way. So we're going on to March and April now. We're really, really busy prepping and taking part in events for a collab with FEET, who are finally ending animal testing. Some of us headed down to Peterborough for the WDAIL event, which is the World Day for Animals and Labs. So we went down to MBR Acres and Peterborough, but we also did events in Newcastle and Saltburn as well. It was an exceptionally busy month because as well as all of that, we also had the Grand National events going on as well. And we had the prep for our Tyneside Vegan and Music Festival in May. That was our sixth event, I think. The event is always well attended, and we love seeing everybody there. It's great, sort of, it's being around like-minded people, and watching everybody sort of like come and enjoy themselves, and it's just a great event to be in. But keep watching our Monday posts for updates on how that's going ahead of our 16th of May event, and make sure you put it in your diary as well. Of course, as well as all of that going on, with being absolutely hectic those few months, March through to July, it's peak rescue time, so we've never stopped. And then moving already on to June, we hosted National Animal Rights Day in Newcastle and also held the first event in Teesside and Saltburn with some brilliant speakers at both events. And they are always great ones to be around when we do collaborations with other people and other activists as well. We also had our second vegan pop-up market in July, which went down a treat, and we'll be putting that on again in summer of 2026. We are hoping that we've got another organizer, Jan, who's agreed to take it on from us, which is brilliant. So watch out for some updates on that. As soon as we've got the date agreed with the new organizer, Jan, we'll be advertising that as well. Now going into already through a very, very, very busy year. Obviously, we were pretty exhausted by then, halfway through with all those events we had already been doing. So we took a little bit of time out and did our wellbeing trips. Went down to Milton's Magical Barn in Dewsbury, just outside of Wakefield, and Pigs in the Wood in Huddersfield in July and August. And those trips do us so much good. Apart from the fact it bonds us together as a group, it just helps us to see the animals that we are advocating for and seeing animals as they should be as well. We've also been working with another local hospital trust, and we've been into their hospitals twice this year working on our Green Futures programme, which is supporting vegan patients. If you know anyone who's interested in being a case study in the Darlington or Durham area, give us a shout, because we would love to see how our work is actually working in practice. We've continued with our monthly fasts in support of animals first and the second, where the main aim is to get people talking about why we're fasting. It certainly does that, because a lot of people don't understand why we're fasting. We're already vegan, kind of thing, so why we're doing this. But it is simply that, it is to raise awareness of the fact that the animals are have food and water withheld before they go to slaughter, but also to talk about animal use generally. Myself and Paul have been doing quite a few talks in schools for animal aid, and in the new year I'm going to be trialling a new programme of animal-based programmes in a local secondary school. So there's going to be lots of talks. It's a huge undertaking, because essentially there's 40 different classes, different talks going on, but hopefully it's going to be very worthwhile. Education is key to what we do as a group, so it's important that we go into schools and start with children. I want to say thank you to all the activists and people who give up the time in 2025 as well to speak to me, all over the world, especially in the UK, but all over the world, to talk to me as part of our Saturday Spotlight interviews. We really appreciate you giving up your time when you're already so busy, and I learned so much from talking to you. Have a great time doing it all. You'll know that obviously our cow pats started a few years ago, and we're getting trolled from our festival event, but they've now been. They're part of our regular posts now, and they've certainly kept us entertained. Who knew that posting about our Christmas dinners, talking about festivals, fox hunting and greyhound racing, would send them all into such a spin. We keep on kind of thinking that they'll lose a bit of steam, but they don't. But so keep them coming through. We really appreciate the extreme effort it must take for them, to think of something remotely original, because the reality is most of them don't. And it is quite funny seeing them all, kind of putting these posts out, thinking that the first time that we've heard these comments. So already in autumn now, so I headed back down to London in September for the first of 2 animal rights marches, and then went back down in November for the other one. Both were well attended, with really good speakers, and at the beginning and the start of the and also some music as well. The beginning and the start of the events, and it's just great to see so many like-minded people walking through the centre of London. And in November, there was also a Remembrance Day service locally, where I laid a purple poppy wreath for animals killed in war. November was another busy month as well, because we also attended a festival in Saltburn, where I did a couple of talks. I was on a panel, and I did a talk on navigating Christmas as a vegan. Hopefully everybody's managed to get through Christmas and the festive period unscathed, or with maybe a few lessons they can take into next year. We also took part in COP30 in Newcastle. I did a talk there, and also attended a vegan festival on the same day. So again, November, just an absolute hectic month. And then it took us to the end of the month, when we did a protest in Middlesbrough against the use of reindeer in the parade. Who can forget that horrendous photo taken by Leslie in the middle of the parade, which we used and is being used by other groups around the UK now, is evidence as why why having live animals in parades is so fundamentally wrong. Now in December, so just a few months ago now, where we kept busy, keeping on top of all these events with animals in them. There was events with donkeys, there was events with reindeer, but there was also an event in a hotel with foxes, with a fox and owls, and also down in Gisborough there was an event with owls as well. It's just absolutely bizarre the lengths people will go to try and bring some imagination, but all it does is imagination to their events and creativity, but all it does is just show that they're relying on something which on something which is so outdated now. So many groups and organisations and events around the world now are just not using them, because when we know it's just fundamentally wrong. But we've decided this year that in the new year that we're going to run this as a year-round campaign of captive animals boycott, rather than firefighting kind of like November and in December time. We're going to be starting it all year round, and we're going to start targeting these companies and organisations from day one, rather than waiting right to the last second. And the reality is they just ignore us, because they know we're going to send them an email. So we need people, this is where the members of the public become so important to us, because, they take more notice of people, ordinary people on the street complaining about things like that, because they expect us to complain. We're an animal rights group. Our inflatable reindeer, though, Rudolph, obviously we've got two which were kind of like being used in different places, but it was incredibly popular at the events and so much better received by the children and the parents. And it gives a great opportunity to talk to the adults who were with the children while we're posing for the photographs, to show them, tell them why animals in events is such a bad idea, but also to show them the alternatives as well. One of the important things that we do is we do collaborations with other events, with other organisations and groups as well. And it's really important that we do this because, we this strength in numbers, obviously, but also it's great to see that show people that we get along and, we work with each other, and we kind of like promote like a bigger picture, a bigger vegan picture, and also we learn from each other as well. So we've done collaborations with North East Animal Save. We've done, with Data's, who are Darlington and Teesside Animal Save, Animal Angels in the North. We stand for Animals in Teesside. There's so much activism going on in the North East. So, if you want to be active, you need to look at one of these groups, us or one of the groups I've mentioned, because there's so much going on. Personally, I try to continue to learn as much about the movement as possible as well. Its history, its present, and its future. I also learn a lot from listening to the new activists within our group. As our group changes and grows, and we get older members, well, not old. I don't mean older in ages, and older members who've been in the group longer. Sometimes they have to move away, and then move on to other groups. But I feel as if it's always really, really important for me not to forget what it's like to be a new vegan, and by dint of that, a new activist. Because I remember being new vegan so long ago now, and being so angry and so kind of having all this frustration and wanting to know what I can do. So it's really important that I don't lose track of how important, of how that initial feeling that I felt when I became vegan. I'm also trying to become much more careful of the language that I use as well. Language that some of the words that I would use, 15, 10, even 5 years ago, have already become outdated because it's a movement. Language evolves, but we need to make sure that we don't dilute the work that we're doing by using outdated terminology or wording as well. So we've got some big news coming up in the new year. We've got a big collaboration coming up, hopefully in January, which I'm really, really excited about. It's a huge thing for us. And really will shine a spotlight on a crucial part of some of the work that we do. And I'm really, really dying to tell everyone, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that. And also we're going to have hopefully the news of a success story from 2012, which we're hoping again to be able to announce by the middle of the month. So two big things which are coming, and I'm so excited. I would like to end on a thank you. To all those activists with whom we've worked on collaborations or who we've met at events, to all those who help us in our work, whether it's financially or practically, or supporting to, responding to our many calls of action. We do lots of calls to action, and these are where, you as ordinary members of the public can take part in those and just get active from your home, or whether it's sharing our work or following us. We really do appreciate every single one of you. And it's been really, really good to see our social media platforms, the followers, improve and grow, and the interaction that we get now as well. And thank you also to those of you who continue to donate to our community group, and those of you who actually are involved in our community group as well. Now, we know that we're nowhere near where we need to be in relation to ending animal use, but we're still closer than where we were a year ago. So while we're gearing ourselves up for another year of hard work, and we have to be really, really dedicated and committed and focused on ending animal use. But we need to also make sure that we celebrate the successes that we have as well. No matter how small they are, we need to celebrate them. And we also need to make sure that we look after ourselves too. There's so much, burnout, and sort of, it's very easy for activists to get overwhelmed by the sheer scale of animal use, locally, nationally, and internationally as well. And I really, really do get overwhelmed by it as well. And it's, I've had some really, really difficult times this year. I would say in April and July and coming up to Christmas, they're probably the worst months for me because there's just so much going on. and I do just feel really, really overwhelmed. But I do get through it, and I take heart by, having good people around me and having some really, really good support, and knowing that, doing something is so much better than doing nothing. So I'm going to end here now saying that the animals need you and we need you. So if you go into the new year wanting to do something, please make it getting active for the animals. So thank you very much for listening. That was a really, really fast whistle stop tour of what we did this year. And I really hope that I'll give you some sort of, some sort of ideas for what you can do yourself in the new year. This is Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights signing off and wishing you all a very, very happy new year and a very successful 2026. Bye for now.